Hello, so for today we're going to be making tinga. Tinga is going to be shredded chicken with onions, chipotle pepper sauce, and a tomato puree. So basically, tinga actually originates from Puebla, Mexico. My parents are going to be from Durango and Zacatecas, Mexico. And luckily, my mom's friend shared the recipe with us, and we ended up loving tinga a lot. So we make it pretty often, actually. And tinga, typically you eat it like alongside with like a tortilla or tostada. And tostada is basically just like a deep fried tortilla, and you add salt to that. So, exactly what is a tortilla then? So, a tortilla is going to be made out of a bunch of like corn nodules, and then after that, after like you have like a bunch of corn nodules, like typically like in a big bowl, especially like if you do work like at a mass produced area, you end up like washing all of the corn a bunch of times, make sure it's clean. And then after that, what they do is that they add hot water in order for the corn to start to like cook. And they also sometimes add limestone as a preservative. Then after that, all of the water is drained out, and then the corn nodules are then grinded into this mushy type of consistency called masa. And so then after you have the masa, it's basically like dough, like Mexican dough, pretty much. All right, that's like the easiest way for me to explain what masa is. So then after you have it, it's pushed down into like a roller. Then like the roller just like flattens it out, and then after that it's moved on to a different roller, and then this roller has like circular, like a circular shape to end up making like the tortilla shape, so it makes a bunch of the circular tortillas. So then after you have a bunch of those, all of those tortillas are then moved on to another roller, or like another machine that bakes all of them for like about 21 seconds. Yeah, like in 21 seconds the tortillas are baked, and then after that they're cooled down, and then after they're cooled down for a few minutes, or probably maybe like an hour or so, they're then packaged away, manufactured, and then delivered to your store. And not to your store, to your house, and then from your house to your tacos. But as I said earlier, tostadas are also made from tortillas. So after they could be, like after the tortillas are cooked, then after that they are like cut up into like little small pieces, which is why sometimes we have those little tortilla chips. So they're cut into small pieces, deep fried, and then we add salt to them, and then that's how we make tostadas. All right, going back to the origin of tortillas. So basically, how it originated was actually by Mayan culture. So back in the old days, this one Mayan peasant wanted to please his very hungry king, and so the peasant made the king what we now call a corn tortilla, and the king was like, eating it. He was like, "Oh my God, this is so good." So then that spread all throughout Mayan culture, and it became very, very popular. Now, after the Spanish conquered what is now Central America, they viewed a lot of the ideas of the Mayan culture and kind of changed it up in their own ways to make it like authentic. And what they saw was a corn tortilla, and they thought it was such a great idea. They're like, "Wow, this is amazing." However, they saw one flaw in it. They're like, "It's made out of corn." And Spanish people were like, "Well, corn really isn't the healthiest thing. We really shouldn't eat it. How about we still take that idea though, and instead of making tortillas made out of corn, we make it out of flour." So that's why nowadays we have corn tortillas and flour tortillas. Alright, so as I said earlier, tinga originates from Puebla, Mexico, and it is extremely authentic as it hails and represents Puebla, which is where the Battle of Puebla took place back like in 1840 something, somewhere around there. And that is where, or when Mexico fought against France, as France tried to establish a state in Mexico. And due to Mexico's victorious win, we celebrate Cinco de Mayo, which is where the dish tinga is heavily represented all throughout Mexico and all throughout the world that celebrates Cinco de Mayo with us. All right, so first step in making tinga. Get your board, get your knife, get your chicken, and for the most part, I like to cut all of my fat from the chicken. So let me just do that. Alright, beautiful. Okay, so after you have a nicely looking chicken breast, typically what we do is we just cut the chicken breast into some small pieces because the chicken breast is going to be boiled up in hot water, and after it's boiled up for about like 30 minutes, we're gonna shred the chicken. Some people use like shredders. I don't. I'm a little ghetto and not that industrial. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna get a fork and kind of just like stab the chicken and kind of just move it around everything, and it's gonna shred easily after it's boiled up. But a few facts about chicken. So chicken actually originates from Southeast Asia. It was very popular and was spreaded like all throughout the world because obviously chickens produce eggs and poultry. One of the largest chicken distributors in the world is in Springdale, Arkansas. I think 2015 they sold about 40.6, no, their revenue was like 40.6 billion. And they're like the largest chicken distributor all over the US and one of the largest ones all over the world. So I'm just gonna finish up, cut up all this chicken, put it in this pan thingy, boil it up, and we'll be back in just a few. So as I just put the chicken to boil, I'm actually going to add some salt to it because of course you typically always put salt on everything. Boom, 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 boom. That's about it. So sometimes people actually put an onion as well to boil in with the chicken, or a piece of cilantro, just to give it like a little bit more flavor. For the sakes of like always, I don't like a lot of onion, so I don't actually tend to put a lot of onion on any of my dishes. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. Alright, now for the worst part about making tinga. Cutting the onion. Okay. So typically when you cut your onion, instead of like cutting it so like the dices are like, like in square form, you want to cut it the other way around. So that instead of having like little square pieces, you end up having long strands of onion. So cut the onion. So after doing some research, looks like the onion actually originated from China. And China and India are actually like the biggest mass producers of onions. About 2015 to 2016, both of them produced somewhere around 20 to 13 million metric units, while the U.S. Produced about 3 million metric units. They're actually not too good at what's it called, absorbing water. So typically you don't want to like spoil them with a bunch of water. They like a moist soil instead of like super watery conditions. But yeah, all right. So it looks like we're finishing up, and as you can see, the onion is like this for now. So you kind of just want to like, separate apart, so they end up being like long strands like this. So after you kind of separate all of your onion like that, we're gonna wait a little while until the chicken finishes boiling up, and then afterwards we're gonna cook the onion in oil, and then we'll move on after there.